Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Students, let's quickly revise production and cost chapter, that is chapter number 3. Okay, so what is the meaning of production? So production refers to a transformation of input into output, or transforming input into output is called as production. For example, raw cotton is made into cloth. Okay, this is the example of production. So what is the input here? Raw cotton. And what is cloth? It is the output. So transforming input into output is called as production. Next is production function. Now production function refers to a production relationship between, it is a functional relationship between input and output. Okay, so production function is the functional relationship between input and output. So it is a technical relationship between factors of production and output produced. So you all know what are the factors of production, that is land, labor, enterprise and capital. So it is the technical relationship between factors of production and output produced. Okay, so production function deals with combination of input to produce more output. Okay, so this production function can be written as Q is equal to F in bracket RLKO. Now what is Q? Q is the quantity produced, F is the function, R refers to the land, K refers to the capital, O refers to the organization. Okay, next is total product. Now what is total product? Total product, that is TP, refers to the aggregate output produced with the help of factor input during a particular period of time. Okay, so it refers to the aggregate output produced with the help of factor inputs during a particular period of time. See, for example, in a week, if 30 units of fan is produced using the input, this 30 units of fan is the total output. So it is obtained by adding the marginal products contributed by each input. Okay, so it is obtained by adding the marginal product contributed by each input. Now what is average product? Okay, now what is average product? Average product, it is a unit of output which is produced per unit of input. Okay, it is the unit of output produced which is it is a unit of output produced per unit of input employed. Okay, so to calculate average product, the formula is average product is equal to total product divided by L. So total product is the total product, TP is the total product and L is the variable factor. Okay, so what is average product? It is an unit of output which is produced per unit input. Okay, so it can be calculated by dividing the total product with the help of variable input. Okay, so for example, if 30 units of fan can be produced by 5 laborers, so what is average product here? AP is equal to 30 divided by 5. So 6 units of labor. Correct. So 6 is the average product. Okay. Next is marginal product. Now what is marginal product? It refers to additional unit of output produced with the help of additional unit of input of labor or capital. Okay, so it is the additional unit of output produced with the help of additional unit of input of labor or capital. See, for example, I've told you 30 units of fan can be produced with the help of 6 laborers, isn't it? Now when you employ one more labor, for example 7th unit of labor, you will be able to get 2 more units of fan. So this 2 more unit what you have produced with the employing of 1 more unit of labor is your marginal product. Okay, so it refers to the additional unit of output produced with the help of additional unit of input of labor or capital. Okay, so next is we will see the relationship between the marginal product and average product. Now altogether you have 6 relationship. Okay, the relationship between average product and marginal product. So the first relationship is both average product and marginal product increases in the beginning with the increase in output. So when you increase your with the increase in input. Okay, so the first relationship is average product and marginal product increase in the beginning with the increase in input. So when you increase your input, when you go on employing the laborers, okay, what happens? The average product, okay, and also the marginal product increases in the beginning. So this is the first relationship. Second is, when average product reaches maximum, MP will be equal to AP. Okay, that means when your average product reaches maximum, marginal product will be equal to AP. Okay, so when average product is maximum, what happens? Marginal product is equal to your average product. Okay, next is, when MP increases, AP also increases, but the rate of increase in MP is greater than AP. Okay, that means when marginal product increases, the average product is also increasing, but the rate of MP, okay, that means when the increase in MP is greater than AP. Okay, that means MP is greater than AP. Okay, next, when MP falls, AP also falls. That means when marginal product falls, average product also falls, but the rate of fall in MP is greater than AP. So the rate of fall in MP, okay, the rate of fall in MP is greater than AP. Okay, and the fifth relationship is, marginal product may become negative, but AP cannot become 0 and it cannot become negative. Okay, so marginal product can become negative with the increase in laborers. Okay, but your average product cannot become negative and it cannot become 0. Okay, and the last relationship is, the MP curve cuts AP curve from below when AP is at maximum. Okay, so this MP curve, marginal product curve, cuts the AP curve when AP is maximum. Okay, so this MP curve cuts AP curve from the below when AP is maximum. Okay, I hope this much is clear. Okay, next let's talk about the law of variable proportion. Okay, now what is law of variable proportion? So this law of variable proportion refers to input-output relationship. Okay, it talks about the input and output relationship. When the output is increased by varying the quantity of one input. Okay, so this average variable product refers to the input-output relationship when the output is increased by varying the quantity of one input. Okay, so this law operates in short run. Okay, so as you all know, in short run, all the factors of production cannot be increased or decreased simultaneously. Okay, so this law of variable proportion, it operates in short run. Okay, and all the factors of production cannot be increased or decreased simultaneously in the short run. Okay, so the producer can enhance the output by increasing only variable input. That means the producer can increase the output only by, or he can only by increasing the variable factor and keeping all the fixed factor constant and making the maximum use of fixed factor. So there will be changes in proportion between variable and fixed factor in the short run. Okay, so this law states that an increase in variable input in a given state of technology causes output to increase, but after a certain point of time, or after a point, the extra output results from same addition of extra input will become less and less. Okay, so what does this law state? It states that initially the output will increase. Okay, when you go on employing the input, initially what happens? The output will increase, but after a certain point, the output will decrease and it will become constant, and then it is going to decrease. Okay, so in this law of variable proportion, you have 3 stages. First is increasing return, second is diminishing return, and third is negative return. Okay, now what is the first stage? The first stage is the increasing return. Okay, in this stage, the total product increases at an increasing rate. Okay, the total product is increasing in an increasing rate. That is, up to third unit of labor, the marginal product, the average, the total product is increasing, and here the marginal product also increases. Okay, and AP is also going to increase. The average product is also increasing. That's why this stage is called as increasing return. Okay, here what happens? Total product increases and marginal product increases, as well as the average product is going to increase. And second stage is diminishing return. Okay, in this stage the total product continues to increase at a diminishing rate. Okay, here what happens? The total product is increasing but in a diminishing rate. Okay, but both average product and marginal product falls, but they are positive here. Okay, what happens in the second stage? The total product is increasing but in a decreasing rate. And then what happens to average product and marginal product? Average product and marginal product both are falling, but they are positive. Okay, but at the end of the stage the marginal product becomes zero. Okay, in the second stage, at the end of this stage, the marginal product becomes zero. Okay, so this stage is called as the diminishing returns for both average product and marginal product. Okay, and the last stage is the negative return. Okay, during the third stage, the TP and AP will be falling. Okay, average product is going to fall, as well as the average total product is falling, and MP is negative. Okay, MP, the marginal product, is negative here. That is the reason why it is called as negative returns, as your MP is negative here. Okay, so this is all about law of variable proportion. Next we will talk about long run production. Now, what is long run production function, or what is long run production? Okay, so this under long run production we talk about returns to scale. Okay, now we know that in long run all factors inputs are variable. All the factors of production are variable. Correct? In a long run, all the factors of production, land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship, all are variable here. There is no any fixed factor in the long run. So the returns to scale explains the relationship between input and output in the long run. Okay, so the returns to scale, which is a long run production function theory. Okay, it talks about the relationship between input and output in the long run. Okay, they study about the changes in output has a consequence of change in all input. Okay, so this can be represented as Q is equal to F, X1, X2 and so on. Okay, now stages of returns to scale, you have studied that you have three: increasing returns to scale, then constant returns to scale and diminishing returns to scale. Okay, so under the stages of returns to scale you have three, that is increasing returns to scale, constant returns to scale and diminishing returns to scale. Now what is increasing returns to scale? Here the output increases in a greater proportion and then the increase in input. Okay, here what happens? The output is increasing in a greater proportion than an increase in input. See, when a firm expands, what happens? Increasing returns to scale are obtained in the beginning. See, for example, if there is 20% increase in input, the output is increasing by 30%. That means the percentage change in output is more than the percentage change in input. Correct? So this is called as increasing returns to scale. I hope you all understood. See, when you increase the input about 20%, the output is increasing by 30%. So the percentage change in output is greater than the percentage change in input. So this increased return to scale, I hope you all understood this increase in returns to scale. What did I say? Here the output increase is in a greater proportion compared to the increase in input. Okay. Next is constant returns to scale. The constant returns to scale exist when the output increase in same proportion with the increase in input. Okay, that means percentage change in output is same as the percentage change in input. Okay, so see, for example, when you increase your input by 25%, the total output is also increased by 25%. So the proportion or the percentage change in input is equal to the percentage change in output. Okay, this is called as constant returns to scale. Next is diminishing returns to scale. So as the name suggests, you all know diminishing returns to scale is when the output increases in a smaller proportion with an increase in all input. See, for example, the percentage change in output is lesser than the percentage change in input. Okay, for example, 25% increase in input leads to 10% increase in output. So here the percentage change in output is smaller than or lesser than percentage change in input. Okay, that means percentage change in input is greater than percentage change in output. This is called as diminishing returns to scale. Okay, next is economics of scale. Okay, so here we talk about internal economics and external economics. So when I say about internal economics, where internal economics arises within the firm when it increases its scale of production by increasing all inputs. Okay, so what is internal economics? Internal economics arises within the firm. Okay, it is the internal part when it increases its scale of production by increasing all input. Okay, so the major internal economics are technical economics, managerial economics, marketing economics, financial economics, then risk bearing economics, transport and shortage economics. Okay, and next is external economics. Now what is external economics? These are the benefits which a firm gets when the entire industry is expanded. Okay, they occur to all firms as a result of expansion in the output of the whole industry, and they are not dependent on the output level of industrial firm. Okay, so the firm gets this economics from outside because of the expansion of the industry. So the major external economics are low cost of raw materials and capital equipment, then technological economics, then development of skilled labor, growth of ancillary industries, then development of transportation, communication, marketing facilities. All this comes under external economics. Okay. Okay, next let's talk about the cost of production and production cost. Okay, now what is the production cost or what is the cost of production? Cost of production refers to the expenses incurred by producer to produce various goods and services. Okay, so the cost of production refers to the expenses incurred by producer to produce various goods and services. It includes all expenses made by a firm or industries to manufacture product. Okay, so to produce any product, an enterprise has to use factors of production like land, labor, capital and organization. Correct. In order to make use of all this, he has to spend money, which is termed as cost. Okay, so cost of production refers to the expenses incurred by the producer to produce various goods and services. So under cost concept, we study about explicit cost and implicit cost. Now what is explicit cost? Explicit cost are those expenses of a producer which are spent on obtaining factors of production to manufacture product. Okay, so explicit cost are those expenses of a producer which are spent on obtaining factors of production to manufacture products. Example, rent paid, wage paid, raw materials expenses, and transportation, power expenses. Okay, all the expenses which is paid to the outsider, the money paid to the outsider is called as explicit cost. Okay, so what are implicit costs then? Implicit costs are those which are not considered by the producer as he owns himself. Okay, for example, few factors of production which he holds by himself, such as land. If he has a land, he don't have to pay rent for that land, isn't it? So that expenses which he don't have to pay to the outsider is called as implicit cost. Okay, next the classification of cost according to short run and long run. What is short run cost? See, in the short run cost, the relationship of cost with our output is different from the long run. Okay, generally the cost of production in the short run will be relatively higher than in the long period. This is because of few factors, such as in the short run the capacity of the firm is fixed, and second is, among the factors of production, fixed factor remains constant and only variable factors can be altered with the change in the output. Okay, so the short run cost includes three. Okay, not three altogether. Under short run cost you study about, there are many costs here. First is fixed cost or supplementary cost. Now what is fixed cost? These are the costs which are incurred on fixed factors of production. Okay, the amount of expenditure spent on fixed factor is unaltered, and in the short run therefore the fixed costs are to be incurred by a firm even when the output is zero. So fixed cost is called as an unavoidable contractual cost. Okay, see, for example, what are fixed costs? For example, if you have taken a building for rent, even though you produce or not, you have to pay the building rent, isn't it? This is called as fixed cost. Okay, whether you produce or not, the cost you have to bear, this is called as the fixed cost. Okay, next is variable cost. So these are the expenses incurred on variable inputs like raw materials, then laborers, electricity, etc. See, for example, this cost is incurred only, this cost varies with your production. For example, when you don't produce anything, you don't have to pay this variable cost. For example, when you don't produce anything, you don't have to buy raw materials, you don't have to bear this variable cost, you don't have to pay to the laborers, isn't it? So this is also called as variable cost, whereas fixed cost you have to incur even though you produce or not, because fixed costs are the cost which you incur on fixed factors of production, such as land, labor and all. Okay, so land capital, such as land, okay, that is the fixed cost. Okay, so for land you have to pay the rent and this is your fixed cost, whereas for laborers you have to pay wages only when you work. So if you don't produce anything, you don't use the services of laborer and you don't have to pay him wages. So wages is the example for variable cost. Next is total fixed cost, that is TFC. So total fixed cost refers to the total money expenses incurred on all fixed factor in the short run. Okay, all fixed factors in the short run. So total fixed cost refers to the total money expenses incurred on all fixed costs in the short run. Okay, it is the total money expenses incurred on all the fixed factor in the short run. Okay, so TFC, that is total fixed cost, remains constant at all the level of output. Okay, next is total variable cost. So what is total variable cost? So it refers to the total money expenses incurred on variable factors input in the short run. Okay, so this total variable cost is the direct cost of the output, because it increases along with the output and it decreases along with the output when the output decreases, and when you don't produce anything, the variable cost is zero. Okay, next is total cost. Total cost is nothing but the total of average total fixed cost and total variable cost. Okay, so it is the aggregate money expenditure incurred by the firm on all the factors to produce a given quantity of output. So it is the aggregate money expenditure incurred by firm on all the factors to produce a given quantity of output. Okay, so total cost is nothing but total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Okay, now what is average fixed cost? It is the fixed cost per unit of output. Okay, so average fixed cost is equal to total fixed cost divided by output. Okay, for example, if the total fixed cost is 30 rupees and if the output is 5, okay, if the output is 5, then how much is the total fixed cost? It is 6. Okay, so it is the fixed cost per unit of output. Okay, next is average variable cost. it is a variable cost per unit of output. Okay, average variable cost is the variable cost per unit of output. So the formula is average variable cost is equal to total variable cost divided by output. So total variable cost divided by the output is your average variable cost. Now what is average cost? It is the cost per unit of output produced. Okay, so average cost is equal to total cost divided by quantity. For example, if the average cost is 30 and if the total cost is for example, if your total cost is 30 and your quantity is or the output is 5, your average cost is 6. Okay, so average cost is equal to total cost divided by quantity of output produced. Next is marginal cost. It is the additional cost incurred to produce an additional output. See, as I've told you in the example of fan. So to produce 30 units of fan, if you have spent around 1000 rupees, to produce 31 unit of fan, if you are spending around 1100 rupees, this 100 rupees is an additional unit or is the additional cost incurred to produce an additional unit of output, that is the 31 fan, one more unit of fan. So this extra 100 rupees which you have incurred is the marginal cost. Okay, so these are the types of cost. Okay, okay. Okay, and this everything, all the cost here is very important. The total product is important, average product, marginal product, then concept of production function, marginal product, the relationship between marginal product, total product, then law of diminishing marginal product, then law of variable proportion, then production functions, then production functions satisfying increasing returns to scale, what I have explained you. Then concept of cost function. All these are very important in this chapter. Okay, and also you will have to study the concept of total fixed cost, total variable cost, and total cost. Okay, and what is long run, what is short run, then how does the average fixed cost curve look like. Okay, all this is very important. Okay, and how does the SMC, short and marginal cost curve, okay, like why does short run marginal cost curve cuts the average variable cost at the minimum point of ABC curve. Okay, okay, all this I have explained when I did this chapter. Okay, this is very important here. And why does the short run marginal curve has a U shape, why it is U shaped. Okay, so what is the answer for this? Marginal cost is the additional cost, isn't it, incurred to produce additional unit of output. So it is U-shaped because of the law of variable proportion. So in the short run, when the producer increases variable factor with the given quantity of fixed factor, in the beginning the marginal cost decreases and later it starts increasing. So this marginal curve is, or it looks like a U-shaped curve. Okay, so all this is very important. And also what is total product, what is average product, what is the cost function of the firm, then what are the total fixed cost, what is the average fixed cost, then what is isoquant. Okay, so what is isoquant? An isoquant is a set of all possible combination of two inputs that yield the same maximum possible level of output. Okay, so isoquant is the set of all possible combination of two input. So the two input, all the possible combination of two input that gives you same maximum possible level of output is called as the isoquant. Okay, this is important. Then the types of returns to scale, that is constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, decreasing returns to scale is very important. And name the short run cost. So what are the short run cost? Total fixed cost, total variable cost, total cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, average cost, marginal cost, or all are the short run cost. Now what are the long run cost? There are two long run costs, namely the long run average cost and long run marginal cost. Okay, then explain isoquant with the help of example. All this is very important. Okay,